You're welcome to today's News Deep Analysis. Please, if you haven't subscribed, do that now and turn on the notification bell. This one is serious. This one can change Nigerian elections forever. The House of Representatives has made a move that hits the heart of our democracy.
No delay.
No stories. No system failed. Real results. Real time. Real accountability. But here's where it gets deeper. Politics. Power. Trust. And yes, Nnamdi Kanu is now part of this national conversation. Stay with me. Don't blink. Let's go straight to it. The House of Representatives has approved a strong amendment to the Electoral Act. One clear rule.
No confusión.
From now on, results must be sent electronically in real time from the polling unit to the IReV portal. Not later. Not when convenient. Immediately. After the result sheet is signed and stamped. The presiding officer must transmit it online. This is not a suggestion. This is not guidance. This is the law. For years, Nigerians have complained about one thing more than anything else on election day. Not voting itself. Not queues. Not even security. The real problem has always been what happens after voting ends. People vote. They wait. They watch. Then confusion starts. Results move slowly. Numbers change. Stories begin to fly. In 2023, many Nigerians experienced this pain again. Polling units announced results. But online portals stayed empty for hours. Sometimes days. When results finally appeared, they did not always match what people saw at their polling units. That gap created anger. It created doubt. And most importantly, it damaged trust. Trust is the fuel of democracy. Once trust is weak, everything shakes. The old law left a hole. It said INEC could transmit results, based on its own guidelines. That word, could, became the problem. Because when something is optional, it can be delayed. When it can be delayed, it can be manipulated. The House decided to close that hole. With this amendment, the law now speaks clearly. No room for personal choice. No room for interpretation. Transmission is mandatory. And it must happen in real time. This means once voting ends at a polling unit, and once the result form is signed and stamped, the same result must go straight to the public portal. This matters because speed protects truth. When results move fast, there is no time to alter them. There is no space for pressure. There is no dark corner for deals. Real-time transmission locks the result at the source. It also gives Nigerians something powerful: confidence. Confidence that what they saw with their own eyes is the same thing the nation sees online. This change also protects election officials who do the right thing. When results are uploaded instantly, no one can later force them to change figures. The system becomes the witness. The timestamp becomes the proof. Another important part of this amendment is clarity. The law now states the exact process. Results must be transmitted after the EC8A form is signed and stamped, and where available, countersigned by party agents. That sequence is important. It shows order. It shows discipline. It shows seriousness. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is skipped. Everything follows a clear path. This is how strong systems are built. Not with noise, but with precision. Many civil groups have praised this move. Not because it favors any party, but because it favors process. And in democracy, process is everything. This amendment also sends a message to future elections. It says technology will no longer be decorative. It will be functional. It will be central. No more excuses about guidelines changing at the last minute. No more silence when systems fail. The law now demands performance. This does not mean elections will suddenly become perfect. No system is perfect. But it means manipulation becomes harder. And transparency becomes normal. That is a big shift. For the first time in a long while, the rules are not vague. They are sharp. This side of the amendment is not about politics alone. It is about restoring belief. Belief that one vote still counts. Belief that effort is not wasted. Belief that democracy can work in Nigeria. That belief has been damaged before. But belief can be rebuilt. This amendment is not the end of the journey. It is the foundation. Everything else rests on it. Now listen carefully. The House did not stop at real-time results. They went further. They went deeper. Because clean results mean nothing if the process before voting is weak, and the punishment after cheating is soft. So the lawmakers tightened the system. First, they made BVAS the backbone of accreditation. Not an option. Not a backup idea. The backbone. If BVAS is not used, the vote does not stand. If BVAS fails and there is no replacement, that election in that area is cancelled. This is not punishment for voters. This is protection for voters. And if the cancelled vote can change the final outcome, a new election must happen within 24 hours. That rule sends a clear message.
No shortcuts. No improvisation.
No manipulation through technical excuses. BVAS now has legal weight. Not just operational value. This matters because accreditation is where rigging often starts. Ghost voters. Multiple voting. Inflated numbers. By locking BVAS into the law, the House shut one of the biggest doors to fraud. But technology alone is not enough. Technology needs fear. Fear of consequences. That is where the punishments come in. For years, election crimes were treated like small mistakes. A slap on the wrist. A quiet fine. Sometimes, nothing at all. That culture created boldness. People cheated because nothing happened. The House decided to change that culture. Vote buying and selling now carries serious punishment. At least 2 years in prison. Or a 5 million naira fine. Or both. And it does not end there. Anyone found guilty is banned from contesting elections. For 10 years. That is not symbolic. That is life-changing. It targets the heart of political corruption. The idea that money can replace choice. With this amendment, money becomes a liability, not a weapon. Election officials are also no longer protected by silence. If a presiding officer breaks the rules, during counting, announcing, or transmitting results, there are consequences. Heavy fines. Prison time. Or both. This is important because elections fail. When officials feel untouchable, this law tells them clearly, your badge will not save you. Your uniform will not protect you. The law is watching. Multiple voter registration is also addressed. No more registering again and again. In different places. If caught, there is jail time. There is a fine. There is accountability. This is not about punishment for punishment's sake. It is about deterrence. When the cost of cheating is high, fewer people try. One of the strongest parts of this chapter is the punishment for declaring false results. 5 years in prison. That single rule can change behavior. Because declaring results is where power often interferes. This law draws a red line. Cross it, and you pay. The House also looked at preparation, not just punishment. INEC must now receive election funds. At least 1 year before general elections. This ends last-minute funding drama. It gives room for planning, training, testing systems. Elections fail when preparation is rushed. This rule slows things down in a good way. Political parties also have new deadlines. Candidates must be submitted earlier. 210 days before elections. This reduces confusion. It reduces court cases. It reduces chaos close to election day. The amendment also allows electronic voter identification, including secure, downloadable options. This is not about removing physical cards. It is about expanding access, while keeping security. Interestingly, the House rejected one clause. A proposal to criminalize inducement of delegates during party primaries. Why? Lawmakers said it could be abused. Used to trap people. Used as a political weapon. That rejection shows something important. This amendment is not blind punishment. It is selective. It is calculated. The goal is not fear for everyone. The goal is fear for offenders. Taken together, this chapter sends a loud message. Election crime is no longer a game. It is no longer business as usual. Rules now have weight. And weight changes behavior. This is how systems mature. Not by speeches, but by consequences. Chapter 2 is about discipline. And discipline is what democracy needs to survive. Now we come to the part many Nigerians are quietly watching. Because while laws are being fixed, the nation itself is still wounded. This chapter is not about elections alone. It is about unity, justice, and power. And at the center of it is Nnamdi Kanu. On the 20th of November, 2025, a Nigerian court sentenced Nnamdi Kanu to life imprisonment on multiple terrorism-related charges. These included leading a proscribed group and inciting violence. Shortly after, he was moved to Sokoto prison. That judgment shook the country. Supporters saw it as extreme. Opponents saw it as necessary. Many Nigerians simply felt uneasy. Not because they all agreed with Kanu, but because the case reopened old wounds. The Southeast. Marginalization claims. Force versus dialogue. The sentence did not close the conversation. It reopened it. Across Nigeria and beyond, leaders, activists, and groups raised concerns. Some called for mercy. Some called for political solutions. The message was simple. This is bigger than one man. Now here is where politics enters quietly. Reports indicate that Benjamin Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, is set to meet with President Bola Tinubu over the issue of Nnamdi Kanu's possible release. This is not a court action. This is not a protest. This is power talking to power. And that matters. Because when lawmakers who shape national rules also engage the executive on sensitive issues, it shows the system is trying to balance itself. This conversation is happening at the same time Nigeria is rewriting its election rules. That timing is not random. Elections decide who speaks for the people. Justice decides whether the people trust those voices. You cannot separate the two. A country that wants clean elections must also show that it can handle conflict wisely. For many Nigerians, the Kanu case has become a test of the state's maturity. Can Nigeria enforce law without deepening division? Can it punish wrongdoing without closing doors to peace? These are not weak questions. They are necessary ones. Benjamin Kalu's involvement is also symbolic. As Deputy Speaker, he represents the legislative arm. He represents lawmaking. He represents dialogue. His move suggests that even within government, there is awareness that force alone cannot solve everything. This does not mean Kanu's release is guaranteed. It does not erase the court judgment. It does not rewrite the law overnight. But it signals something important. That political solutions are being considered. For the Southeast, this matters deeply. For national unity, it matters even more. Many Nigerians are tired of endless tension. They want calm. They want fairness. They want to feel included. This is why civil society groups link electoral reform with national healing. If people believe their votes count, they are more likely to believe in the system. If they believe in the system, they are more likely to accept hard decisions, even painful ones. But when trust is broken, every action feels like oppression. That is the danger Nigeria is trying to avoid. This chapter is not about choosing sides. It is about choosing stability. The House of Representatives understands this. That is why their reforms go beyond machines and portals. They are trying to rebuild confidence. Not just in elections, but in governance itself. The Kanu talks sit inside that bigger picture. A government that listens looks stronger than one that only punishes. A democracy that talks lasts longer than one that silences. Nigeria has tried silence before. It did not bring peace. This moment offers a different path. Not surrender, not weakness, but engagement. As 2027 approaches, everything connects. How votes are counted, how laws are enforced, how conflicts are handled. Nigerians are watching closely, not with blind hope, but with cautious expectation. Chapter 3 is about trust, and trust is the hardest thing to rebuild. But without it, no election reform will be enough. Nigeria is at a crossroad. Clean elections, strong laws, hard justice questions. What the House has done is not perfect, but it is bold. The question now is simple. Will this law be obeyed? Will power respect the rules? And will justice serve peace, not just punishment? 2027 is coming. Nigeria is watching.